Hi everyone at GCU and Lopes Community. My name is Briley Funk. I'm currently a student enrolled at GCU for an undergrad program. I am currently enrolled in the education department for a degree in secondary education with an emphasis in history. I currently live in a small town north of Seattle called Bellingham, Washington, with my brother, my mom, and dad. And Frequently I go and visit my girlfriend Tara, and we have a pretty good time up here. Um, Currently, I am in my room, as you guys can see, and I'm just gonna get right into the point. The point of this video is to discuss disposition, and we're going to kind of go into that as we talk throughout this video, and hopefully by the end of it you'll understand me better as a person and how I am qualified to be a teacher for the next generation of students. So starting off, uh, the first question is, what dispositions do I possess that I think will make me a successful teacher? So with this, there's a couple things that I think will help make me a successful teacher. Um, One thing is I have pretty good perseverance. I think my first go around with school and college was not uh, everyone's hope and dream. I ended up leaving Central Washington University after 2.5 years of study there, and took a 2.5 year break. After that break, I came back to I went back to school at Whatcom Community College here in Bellingham, and I finished up my AA this last summer and got that squared away. Um, and I decided at that point, after taking a bunch of history classes and speaking further with my counselors and my teachers, and kind of having just, passion for it, that I wanted to be a teacher. Um, I'm really excited to take the further steps here at GCU to finish up my degree and further that. So I guess my first disposition would be perseverance. Not being a great student in the beginning, but working hard at it to become better over time and end up where I'm at now is kind of my first step with dispositions. Um, so I kind of can relate to a student that struggles and kind of has some issues and is on the lower side of maybe the classroom and doesn't really like school as much in the first place. But I think I can encourage them quite a bit to enjoy what they're studying, even if it isn't their favorite subject or they have no interest in being where they're at, and look for a brighter future, because that's what I've done with myself. The next disposition I think I'm pretty good at is a good leadership role. Um, I like to take charge of things. So I guess a really good example for me of this is I work at equipment company here in town called Birch Equipment. We uh, we rent equipment from everything from like lawnmowers and weed eaters up to big, huge boom lifts and excavators and stuff for construction sites around Seattle area and all the way north to the border to the northern border by Canada. And my role there has changed over the years. I am currently uh, kind of a teacher at my position. Well, I would say I'm the teacher. I'm a lead yard rep where I'm at now, and I've gotten promoted twice there to where I'm at now. And what I do essentially is I have about 5, 6 guys underneath me, um, ranging from working from in the company from one year to just starting. My newest guy, he just started a week and a half ago, and we go over what it entails to be at my position. So I guess on a daily basis, what we're doing is we are performing assessments on equipment. So when it comes back from a rental, we do like assessments on it and make sure it's good to go for the next one. And so I teach these guys how to do that stuff. Sometimes it can be more tricky than others when it comes to uh, finding out what's wrong with the equipment. But most of the time, I get the guys on board within 3 weeks, and they're usually doing a pretty great job. So I would say that when it comes to my experience with leadership and teaching outside of the educational realm, I've done a pretty good job. Um, Another disposition I would say is I'm a pretty friendly person that can understand um, like people's feelings and what they kind of need. Um, Being from a background that I discussed earlier with not necessarily succeeding on your first try around through school, it's kind of developed me to have a higher sense of empathy towards others. Um, I can understand hardships and tribulations a little bit more. Another kind of hardship that I am kind of going through right now is with a family member of mine. My father, a year and a half ago, was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And so I am currently living at home helping out my mom, brother, and my dad because of what my dad's going through, and then the rest of the family. My brother, he's a senior in high school, so I try and be there for him, and then also with my mom, she's working full time right now, and so if she needs anything from me, with me being in school and working, I try and step up to the plate on that. So I guess when it comes to like understanding others, these struggles that I go through in my own personal life kind of gives me a better background and understanding to others when they're going through tough times and stuff. Um, and I just hope I can put those skills to and dispositions to my teaching career. Some things I need to work on when it comes to dispositions is I need to work on my thought process and patterns. One thing I've struggled with for a long time is getting my ideas from my head into either my voice or onto my paper. I was diagnosed 3 years ago after I left school with ADHD. I went down to Seattle and had a professional perform some tests on me, and I had no idea until I finished the test that I actually had that. Um, so that can be a struggle sometimes for me, but I do my best, and I've done pretty well at overcoming that issue. I just make sure now that I take a little extra time in what I'm working on and try and get through that stuff. What else is something I need to work on? Um, Sometimes I guess another thing I need to work on is being more available and on time with certain projects and assignments. What I mean by this is sometimes I do procrastinate. It just is a naturally bad thing about my personality, I would say sometimes, that I do procrastinate. And when it does come to that, I've gotten a lot better. Um, I used to do it all the time, but now I make sure that I plan out my week so I have enough time usually to get most of my stuff done. I have a little journal that I keep. I think it's a little out of reach right now, so we won't go to that. But it's here in my room, and I usually try and get my whole week kind of planned out on Mondays, and go through that through the week. Um, so when it comes to qualities of a professional educator, it really, in my opinion, depends on what you're teaching and what you're your want and desire is for the outcome of the profession. And I think that goes for pretty much any other profession that we would ever cover. Um, so when it comes to a professional educator, I guess some things that are important to keep in mind is one, um, you are the leader and you are leading by example 24/7. Um, so when you're in that environment, you need to make sure that you're uh, thoroughly explaining your ideas as well as getting the point across to the individual what you're trying to discuss. Um, you need to also set lead by example. So that can mean anything from showing up to on time to not coming to work with a bad mindset because you're the example for your class and you need to be the one to show why you're there. That kind of goes into what I was discussing earlier with me at my position as a lead yard rep. I need to set an example to my guys, so I got to be there on time, and then I also, I got to be able to show them how to work. So I got to be working a little bit harder than them when I am on jobs with them, so they understand that this is how hard you can work, and this is how hard you need to be able to go to succeed in that position. Um, Besides being a leader and that, another good quality that you or disposition that you need to show as an educator is communication skills. So I believe it's really important to have good communication skills in and outside the classroom with your students. What I mean by this, and from what I heard from one of my good friends, is that the better communication skills you have, the easier the course is going to go by. And what I mean by this is, you know, reading emails, replying to emails, making sure you're available outside of the classroom to have those extra discussions to make sure your students succeed. Because that's the number one goal for you. There's obviously a lot of like other goals that you might have in mind, but the number one goal is to have all your students succeed. So if that's the case, you need to make sure you're available and that you communicate with them what's going on outside of school. Um, I guess one other third quality would be, um, you know, making sure you can believe that all your students can succeed. Um, Not personally for me, but I've seen in the classroom before some teachers they if you even if you don't like the individual, you need to make sure that you are teaching them equally and respectfully in the class. Sometimes a little tough love is all right with certain students, but you need to analyze the situation and the individual before you go and make a call in the classroom that might be a little bit of a risk or a risk taking decision. Because there's been times in classrooms where I've had teachers throughout high school and university where it's all right to throw a little bit of back and forth with the student, but there's other times where it's unacceptable. So you need to make sure that you're making the right call at all times and be a good uh, analyzer of just the environment that you currently are in. I can't really emphasize that enough because it it goes right 90% of the time, I would say. But there has been a couple times throughout my time here on Earth that um, I have witnessed times where it just wasn't the right environment or setting for the teacher to make that kind of joke or um, you know just that kind of a scenario. So I guess if I was going to discuss that, that's all I really have to say. Um, I hope this video on dispositions helps you have a little bit of a better understanding of who I am, as well as certain things that I might need to work on. Um, that's all I really have to say. Go Lopes!